It's a beautiful Monday morning here in the Virgin Islands of the United States of America. And we're going to be rocking this morning because we have a few items to touch upon, which I believe will rock us like we're sitting in rocking chairs. So we're going to deal with that. Of course, on Monday mornings, before I really get into the meat of our discussions, I like to touch upon matters pertaining to life and the Creator Most High. And one of the things I did was that I did a little personal experience where, upon going to bed, I imagined that there is no tomorrow, no yesterday, just now. That I'm going to bed. Everything that I've experienced, that I'm experiencing, is now. And so I'm not worrying about yesterday or tomorrow, just now. And so I went to bed. I awoke in the morning. It is still now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. And then I had breakfast. It is now. I met with neighbors and other people. It is now. I traveled on the roads. It is now. Nothing about past and future, just now. And then I thought, what if I dreamed? And in that dream, I saw a being. And the being tells me, when I ask the being, but you look different in terms of, your appearance and all. And the being says, well, I'm from a different dimension, but I'm meeting with you now. Hear that? I am from a different dimension, but I'm meeting with you now. In other words, the being meets me now in the dimension in which I am, but clearly the being is from another dimension. And I thought about this and I said, we worry about past and future because we've been so programmed to think in terms of past, present, and future. But you set aside past, you set aside future, and you live for the now. Now I am doing this. Now I am loving. I'm loving me. I'm loving life and all that's involved. I'm loving my neighbors. I'm loving the animals. I'm loving the trees, the fruits. I'm appreciating everything. I'm being kind now. I'm being generous now. I'm doing all that I am doing now. I'm not thinking of past and future because I'm not so programmed. It's all about now and what I am doing now. And so, folks, as I thought about that, I saw how we are too often entrapped by programs that have somehow been forced upon us, if I may, or I don't even know, we found ourselves in a structure, a matrix that puts all of these things upon us, and we don't have the gumption, if I may, to break free from those limitations, those things that impede vision. I'm not just talking about physical vision. And so I found myself in eternity. I found myself living in the now. And in the now, I am doing all that I can, which is good. I'm doing all that I can, which is loving and lovable. In all that I see before me, around me, it's beautiful in its own way. The cats that I have around my house, I see beauty in them. Neighbors, even in terms of behavior that we're not comfortable with, I see beauty. I see beauty in all around me. I love, I appreciate, I do good, And I think if we would take this kind of attitude, life will always be seen as great, spectacular, splendor beyond imagination, manifestation of all that is good. And perhaps, brothers and sisters, members of this community, this radio community, this online community, those of you who join from via Facebook and Instagram and what have you, let's just capture the moment and live in the moment. 773-0390, 773-0490, the numbers to call. Let's give thanks and praises for the gift of life. Good morning, caller. Good morning and welcome.
Yes. Good morning, John Bob. How are you today?
Hey, life is beautiful and enjoyable.
Yes, it is. I hope you enjoyed or helped the mothers to enjoy their Mother's Day, as I did.
Oh wow! I did. Did you hear a song that I perhaps didn't share that with you but I have this beautiful poster that was made with my picture and a lovely tune composed that we played for the mothers. I had this shared on Facebook, on WhatsApp.
No, I did not see it yet, but I will.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
It's still up.
And I'm gonna I have copies, so I can always send that to you so you can see it and you can hear the tune.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, in second thought, I did see something, and I made a comment on it. I believe.
Alrighty.
Yes. Anyway, what I did this Mother's Day is something that I do every Mother's Day. The only thing, it was a bit solemn because I went home to Houston, and my wife she passed in September. She was the only one missing. All my daughters who are mothers, my granddaughters who are mothers, we hold this big old party, and it was, oh man, it was so grand and nice, but a little solemn, as I said, because the Empress, La Reina en mi vida, she was not there, But God knows best, and He took out her suffering.
But she was there in spirit. She was there in spirit.
Oh yes, very much so. Very much so. Yes. Yes, but since I caught it and the situation with health, let me say that I like to always give experiences of mine that I had in going to doctors. I made it a point. You cannot eat the money. And to say you ain't going to the doctor, the guy will tell you the same thing, or he only wants you there because he wants money. I encourage each and every one to see the doctor, the specialist regularly, not when a pain becomes too overbearing. There's a new thing that they're doing now, or maybe not so new. They call it life imaging. And they attack, they go towards the two greatest killers of people as far as disease is concerned: heart disease and cancer. And I am proud to report that I already did the imaging on my heart. Thank you, Jesus. It's ticking. I did one on the upper GI series to include the full tube and my stomach. And that is controlled with the H. The H. pylori bacteria in your stomach has to be balanced. Yes. And now I am doing the one I think it's the 15th. The 15th is Friday, yes. I'm doing the colon now. I already had colonoscopy. So they're not doing a colonography. Because sometimes they miss something in the oscopy, but they would not miss anything in the graphy.
Mm-hmm.
I say all of this to tell people, it's only one of you. And if you don't take care of you, I mean, of course, of God. I mean, why wouldn't you take care of you? Some people got a ton of money in the bank and brag on how much money they got in the bank, but then they write close to death door, dragging in the street and won't go to a doctor. I don't understand it, you know.
Well, let me. You mentioned a couple of things I want to touch upon. You mentioned the importance of taking care of oneself, and I agree wholeheartedly. Now you tie into taking care of yourself, an aspect which you mentioned as visiting the doctor, having your annual exams, etc. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, I also want to say to you that there are some old sayings. I don't even want to call them old sayings, but some sayings that have been with us for some time. Sayings such as "Let your food be your medicine." And so, I think it's important for us to understand that a lot of the ailments we suffer today arise as a result of whether it is nutritional deficiencies or particular elements that we're missing in the diet, and there are all kinds of reasons that will be given to you as to why that is the case. And so I think I want to encourage people to be proactive, to engage in healthy lifestyles, if I may, and at the same time, when I speak about healthy lifestyle, I also go into, for those who are not into religion, just meditation and relaxation. You don't believe in a creator, you don't believe in God as we use the term, but go down to the shoreline, sit by the ocean, watch the waves dash against the rocks, look at the fish swim by, listen to the chirping of birds, enjoy nature, watch a beautiful sunset, welcome a morning sunrise, etc. Take a walk in the park.
That helps when you go to health also.
Exactly. Exactly.
Very much so.
And I'm going to tell you straight up, my physician, that's me personally, I'm not asking anybody to be like me. My physician, my primary physician is the Creator Most High. Anytime I seem to see something not going right with me, I first look at what I have been doing, what I have failed to do, and I turn to the Most High. I ask for forgiveness for my shortcomings and ask Him to take away my infirmities, heal my diseases.
Yes, of course.
Because the great physician is Yeshua.
Most important.
Yes. So, but I'm not asking people not to do the annual, checkup and what have you. No, go ahead and do it. Early detection is very, very significant.
But we are so much in tune with each other because you went where I was going before I come to a close. And it is that God, Yahweh, Jehovah, He is still the greatest physician, the greatest healer, and the greatest miracle worker. So you cannot leave Him out of it. What I do, and when I am feeling sick, not even when I'm not feeling sick, I ask God to guide me where He would want me to go. And I said to Him, I know I put my faith and trust in Thee, that You can heal anything in my body. But if you think I need to go see a specialist, guide me to the right person. And I prayed that prayer several years ago when my blood pressure and blood sugar had started running away again. And I'll tell you, the of it was from stress.
Mm-hmm.
I was heavily involved in too many businesses at a time and reaping too many debts.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you become so overwhelmed and depressed. But I prayed to God and I tell him to lead me to the right doctor. And thanks be to Jesus. He led me to a young black female doctor from Atlanta, one Dr. Will Burns. And let me tell you something. The medication she took me off of, put me on to others, bring that blood pressure and blood sugar down right away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have sent maybe 50 people at least to her because of what she did for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she takes time with you. She sits you down and she's looking right at you. She's looking in your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And she can tell you what's bothering you.
Mm-hmm.
And she always said to me, Al, you gotta get rid of that stress. Get rid of it. It's not helping you. This is what have your numbers up high.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, thanks be to God for her and other great physicians. I have 3 of my children and one of my grandchild in the health field.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I just joke with them and say, you all only got into that because I want to make money,
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be a calling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a teacher. You must be called to do those type of work.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm glad. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I am glad that you brought this up, and I'm going to tell you. I want to praise the point that I attended a funeral service on Friday for a close family friend who passed away. Those of us on St. Croix who know Jacinta Gussie, her mother, is the one I'm referring to. And the initial problem was that she suffered complications with high blood pressure and a stroke. I have a friend who's at home right now. He called me to tell me that he had been hospitalized briefly because his pressure went sky high. He experienced what apparently, obviously, or evidently is referred to as symptoms of a stroke. And that even after being sent home, he's seeing double. When he shuts one eye, he seems to see a little better. And then he revealed to me that he had not been taking his high blood pressure medication for about 8 months because the initial prescription and follow prescriptions have been on the mainland, but being here in the territory, he didn't bother to, get his prescriptions refilled, and so he ran into that situation. Then again, I want to mention to all of us that we have a former senator, Ronald Russell, who passed away recently, and I understand initially again that was the same symptoms that he experienced. And I am being told, I don't want to mention it until it is confirmed, but I understand another former senator has passed away, and it is not the Honorable John Bell, but another former senator. So, again, condolences to all of those families who have experienced and who are presently going through the loss of loved ones.
I give my condolence to the family of both these 2 good gentlemen and talk shows on this same program over the weekend. And like I said, John Bell was my big ICM brother. And because of that, I had a closer relationship with him than I had with Ronnie Russell. But Ronnie being a Democrat did not stop us from having a relationship. A relationship from 2 scopes. One, the musical aspect, where I would visit his club where he and his brothers playing a progressive jazz down in Fredericton. And of course, because he saw served in the lawmaking body where I worked in both the business office and as executive director. So we had a relationship that way, you know. He being a Democrat, I being an ICM, notwithstanding, you know. And that's the way it has to be. We all can't be in the same club or the same party, but we should get along, particularly if our perspective is to do what? Help the people, especially the children, the underprivileged, and the elderly. So with that, I will say thanks for the time, and I will continue to listen.
I want to thank you for calling and sharing with us this morning. Be blessed.
Yes, always. Thank you, sir.
All right, I do have, before I go on to the next caller, just hold on a quick second. My good friend Vidal is here. She has joined me this morning, and so Vidal, go ahead and say hello to the folks out there.
Pleasant. Good morning. Happy Paradise Monday. And I hope everyone listening to this program, Upfront with Baptiste, is living a stress-free life, learning something new every day, something positive, loving your fellow human beings, because it's just one planet that we are occupying, and levitating. That means spiritual enlightenment. Whoever you consider your God or whatever religion you follow, whatever entity you worship, we all have one thing in common. We're human beings, and we want to see a better life for ourselves and for our generation. So, and that can be achieved, I think. Respect human rights. You know, I advocate for that. So it's good. I commend you for what you're doing, bringing enlightenment to the people, not just about what's happening around us in this real world, physical world, but also trying to spiritually uplift people. And that's what I mean by levitating, reaching that high level of spirituality, regardless of your religion, and that personal relationship with whomever you consider your God or your deity.
It's all about higher level conversations.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hear what the scholar has to say, and then we'll continue to see how we can just rock this thing today. Hello, caller. Good morning and welcome. Hello. Hello. Yes, good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Yes, I'm calling about the article that was in the online ABC or NBC, one of them, last week. They did the largest study ever on cell phone use for children in school and what effects it may have on them. They looked at 4,600 schools, and these schools were schools that had restrictions on no cell phone use during the school time, and verifiable. It was it be verifiable that you can some schools have the no-show policy that the students just can have the phones, but they just can't have them out. They didn't include those because it wasn't verifiable as to whether the students were using it or not. They only looked at schools that had things like the pouches, where they have to put them in these pouches throughout the school day, or some other form along those lines where they could be pretty sure that the students didn't have access to their cell phones. So what they found is that was very surprising. It was not expected. I expected it from my experiences and knowledge of it. I expected, but they did not, and it was contrary to what people think is going on. What they found was for the academic, so they did this for over a year. They had the policy and did the study. So they looked at the
difference whatsoever. And this is 4,600 schools. They found academically didn't make a difference before the cell phones, which is what I've been saying. And it makes sense that the children are not paying attention to the teacher in schools, not because they're on the cell phone. With or without the cell phones, they just aren't paying attention. So this is the issue that that is not about the cell phones when it comes to the academics. Where they found it made a difference is social well-being. They found that after over a year of this policy, they had less depression and all the other anxieties that children have, which again makes perfect sense, and which is what I was saying, that the bullying, you can bully a person 24/7 if they have a cell phone and actually pay attention to it. They're on social media and all that stuff. They could be before cell phones. When they left school, the bullying stopped. But with cell phones, they could be in the car or the bus going home and still being bullied. They could be sitting right next to their parents and being bullied, and the parents don't even know. And so it's like, if you they don't have access to their cell phone during school hours, that's at least, what's that, 6 hours or more, the 6 hours that they're not being bullied. While with the cell phones, they're being bullied 24/7. So that's what they found. And so, and those pouches are expensive. It seems as though it's not just that you just buy the pouches at the end. I don't know exactly how it works, but I know they're expensive to utilize.
Here is the reality. Whenever we traverse new territory, we engage in new developments, there will be some consequences, and the consequences can be good or they can be bad. I mean, you go back into the annals of history, and a recent one, when Europeans traveled from Europe to the so-called New World, there was devastating impacts from the interaction between the Native American Indians and the Caucasian people who came over at the time, from the standpoint of not just warfare, but the impact of diseases being introduced into the indigenous population, etc. Folks have had to deal with these matters and to find ways and means of containing those conflicts, those problematic situations. And it's true.
Get even more basic as you can. Water. We need water to live. Every living thing needs water to survive. Humans, they say we can go maybe 3 days without water before we die. That's on average. But water also can be used to kill. You can drown somebody in water, or even again air.
Absolutely.
There is such a thing as too much air. You can get too much air and die, but you need air to live. So for those two basic things, if those two could be good and bad, what else would it be?
Right.
Everything in life could be used. It's how it's being used. It could be used for good, or it could be used for bad.
So we have
of course, the odds of it being used for bad are more increased than other things. So like water and air is well, I should say water because people drown people all the time. But air is really, do you have a situation where you get too much? It does, but it's not a thing. While other things, like say cocaine, there is a greater chance that it's going to do, the chance of it doing harm is greater than the chance of air.
And hence the importance of teaching people how to manage things. Exactly. Across the spectrum. You got to learn how to manage things.
And this is one of the reasons why I'm against a ban of cell phones in the schools.
All right.
We have the children in the school. We're teaching them all kinds of things. They're going to be out in society where they're not going to have these rules, strict rules. If you don't have them, if they don't have cell phones in the school, you never get a chance to teach them how to use them properly. So now they graduate and are in the workplace. It's going to be a mess.
So and again, you know, we got to be realistic about the times that we're living in and the importance of technology. There is this new thing that I see folks have, and actually a young man spoke to me in terms of developing an app to go with it. You know, there is the watch, the smart watches that people have today, and even smart glasses, I understand, which is tied into the telephonic technology, so that, you know, you can, with your smartwatch, you can answer your phone, you can and with the smart glasses you can do this, and you could monitor your health circumstances with a smartwatch, you know. So it's like you have a health buddy walking along with you. And there is a friend of mine, who, the young man I spoke of, he's actually working on developing an app. I think he already has the basics in place, and he's trying to work with a company so they can get it going for him. And I think they've drafted an agreement of sorts in terms of how, you know, benefits will go. And that's a local Virgin Islander who's doing that. So I'm saying that, you know, the technology we shouldn't be afraid of. We shouldn't try to keep it in a locked thing all the time. Allow people to use the technology, but let's find the right ways and means of managing it, and not you know, abusing it, if I may.
And we have to teach our young people, our children, how to use these technologies, how to deal with it, because it's not like they're going away.
Absolutely.
They're going to graduate. They're going to be out in the workplace.
Because
and we have not, they're now an adult. The best way to teach things for children to make it, you know, a good chance for it to stick is when they're young, when their brains are developing.
Absolutely.
If we were this cell phone ban, we have skipped all of that. Wait till when they're adults and then say, okay, you're free to use it as you please.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's going to be worse. The problem is that we haven't been teaching. We just gave them the cell phones, and we haven't been monitoring them. We haven't been teaching them how to really allow them to use them whenever, at the dinner table, in the car, instead of talking to you. They're on their cell phone, and we sat there and allowed them. We did not teach them how to use it responsibly. And now, with these bans, you're wiping out. So teachers who were doing it, and there have been teachers who do teach the children how to use the cell phones responsibly. But now you're cutting that out. So now there's only the parents, and the parents weren't doing it. That's why we had the problem in the first place. The parents were just giving the cell phones to little children and little kids, the iPads of little children, and without they don't monitor them. They don't give them any instructions. They just like here. And glad that the child is quiet and not getting in their ear. But what the child is quiet doing is online doing crap, talking to people who don't have responsibility, who don't have the morals that you have. And that's why they're quiet. We have neglected and what this cell phone ban is going even further in that direction.
Well,
we are not going to teach them how to use. We refuse to teach them how to use it responsibly.
Let's try and put this into perspective so that the general public, those who are listening and viewing, can get something substantive out of this discussion. And you're an educator. I've got a co-host this morning who is an educator. I'm also a retired educator, and I just want to put something in perspective here. When automobiles first came along, I'm certain there was an aversion to having this wide use of automobiles, but we've gone past that, and we have measures in place to monitor, to regulate the use of those automobiles. And here we're moving to another phase right now where they're experimenting with what we call flying cars. And at some point in time, we're going to have them being used in abundance. We're going to have to regulate where and when and how they're being used, but it's going to be part of the reality that we shift into in the future. We have to manage. We have to monitor.
You're going way into the future, but right the present, we have AI, and we have to come up with some regulations and stuff. You can't have a free for all in a large society.
I agree.
Because some people are going to use it in the wrong way. And also, everything have inherent problems with it. Everything comes with inherent problems.
Absolutely.
And it's regulation. There is about something that's healthy for you. There is such a thing as eating too much or drinking too much of that thing. It's healthy if it's within this window. But if you go beyond it, it's now reverses and becomes a problem.
Absolutely.
So we have to, we can't, the problem is we, for some reason, don't seem to realize this. And so when new things come, we are not looking at what's happening. We're not looking how we need to regulate, how we need to deal with it. And especially for our children, they haven't had the life experiences that we have to be able to say, okay, well, this is too much. This is going to become a problem. But we need to be looking out for them. We need to be looking at anything new. How is it going to affect them?
Yeah.
And what do we need to do to prevent it from negatively affecting them?
Absolutely.
And this is and nobody can say we have, as a society, we have done this with cell phones, and then we're surprised it's a problem for them.
All right, that's how
and then our solution is to try to take it away from them, try to take away technology. That's like the car, as you pointed out.
Yep.
Who was going to stop the car from it was a great asset. It is a great asset. Although, again, we have too many of them. We have that. Anything you can get too many of. And it goes from being only an asset to being still an asset, but a problem.
Right.
We have pollution and all that kind of stuff. We know this happens with everything, but we go blindly into the new thing, not looking at our past experiences.
Well, every day is a learning experience. My co-host wants to say something. Go ahead.
Okay, let me give my perspective on this issue. Every era has a new challenge. It's a different time. As was mentioned, the example with the car. You learn from your mistakes. Sometimes we can't predict certain things. It's most of us probably don't think beyond 20 years. We don't think into the future. But there's a consequence to every invention. I heard one scientist or anthropologist say the most detrimental invention was the chair, because human beings are designed to be walking around. And with the invention of the chair, people have become lazier. You have all kinds of issues, obesity, people are not moving around. So with the cell phone, I believe the children, they're going to be all right. They're actually teaching the parents how to use the phones. So you have the good and the bad and the ugly in every situation. And as the issue arises...
But using the example of the car, we don't just give children cars.
No, you don't. And you have a license. But the reality is...
And they go to driving school and all that.
Yes, you need regulations. That's why you have a government. You don't give a driving license to someone under the age of 10, but they may be able to drive. You don't give a firearm license to somebody under the age of 10, but they may be able to use it because they're not living in a bubble. It's open. The world is open. This is a new world.
I was 8. But it wasn't just my father didn't just give me the car and say, go without, he looked, he monitored, then he saw that I was able to handle it on my own. And then he let me drive around in the yard or the beach or, not the public roads. But the thing is, he monitored me. He looked at what I was doing. He gave me things. Then when he saw that I was able to handle it, then he let me go ahead, do it by myself. But this is not what parents are doing with cell phones.
Well, unfortunately, the parents don't come
at all. They just hand them the phone, hand them the box.
you can give the parents a manual, but how to raise their children. But you have the government, and you need laws in place. You need law and order. You need regulations.
Yeah.
And with the cell phone, like anything else, you have, like I said, you have the bad, the good, and the ugly. I find, to me, it's a great learning tool if properly used. Like everything you could use, misuse, abuse, anything. For example,
And
water may
die
seem harmless. We need water, right?
Trying to run away from.
Yeah,
We're
you need
trying
water
run
to
away
survive,
from
right?
From our responsibility to guide our children. And you can't.
Let me say something here, and there will always be pros and cons when it comes to these matters. There is right now there is discussion as in some schools, in some jurisdictions, as to whether teachers should be allowed to go to school with a weapon, you know. And whilst I support people carrying their licensed firearms, personally, I wouldn't want to carry my licensed firearm into school, you know. And I'm saying that, you know, we have to have regulations. We need to
when I was in 4th grade, I saw the kindergarten teacher of my class, of my school, get wheeled out to an ambulance because she had a pistol, a weapon in her bag, and it accidentally, the trigger got pulled. And fortunately, she was the one who got shot, and no children in the kindergarten class.
Right.
So when I was in 4th grade, I realized teachers having guns in the classroom is not that great of an idea, because the stakes. And this woman was a wonderful, peaceful woman. I guess she was having some issue. I don't know if it was domestic or what, but she felt she needed to be armed.
And you saw the need to regulate that, so we don't have it in the classroom. I don't support teachers having guns in a classroom.
I don't support that either.
But you have people who have the argument that they needed it because of the violent times we live in. You know, so I'm saying we have to strike a balance at some point. Cell phones are an important part of technology in today's world. The children have to be acclimated to the cell phones. They have to learn how to make proper use and regulated use of cell phones. So that, you know, there'll be pros and cons in terms of how we utilize them in the school, within the school setting. We as adults, as people who have more experience, we need to come together at the table and decide how we're going to lay down standards in terms of how it's being done.
Practices to be able to teach our young how to use, because we know cell phones are not going away.
I agree.
Same as guns, they're not going away.
Teach them how to, and so that's what the discussion should really be about. Not about locking the cell phones in pouches. How do we teach our young to properly use them, and especially the ones who the parents, for whatever reason, are not going to do it. Either they can't do it or they refuse to do it. Then the school is the safety net. That's the only place the community has a way that children have to go to school. You have them there, and you can teach them what their parents, for whatever reason, didn't do, but we know is necessary.
Do you realize we're living at a time when a cell phone may be weaponized, so much so that a child who is bent on mischief can be in school, and if they've developed an app, somebody can do something where the cell phone is used as a trigger to blow up the place. These are the times we're living in. So we have to have.
Even in my time, I'm sure water guns caused many a fight during when I was growing up. You know, so a water gun can be the trigger for fight. How a cell phone is not going to.
All right. So I am not. Hear me out. I am not opposed to allowing the children to use cell phones in the schools, but we have to look at issues of safety, issues of dishonesty, and all of that. and to see how we can put in place measures to have a system of control, regulated use.
And if we as adults can't figure out something for children to deal with this situation, then what problems can we solve? You know, this is a solvable problem.
Interesting.
There have been many teachers who have found ways to, but they get ignored when they tell people, okay, I found a way that works, and the children are getting to it, no problem. People totally ignore them. They don't even listen to what it is they do and analyze and to see, is this a possible solution? Okay, do we need to tweak it a little bit or what? But they don't. We are not even trying. All we're trying to do is lock the cell phones away from the children. That is our solution, and that is not a solution.
You know what I'm going. You know what?
See how we can possibly think that this is a solution.
You know what I'm going to try and put together? I'm going to try and see if we could have a debate on this program, the pros and cons of cell phone use by students in the school. Maybe we should bring the students.
Do that because there's definitely pros and there's definitely cons.
So we want to hear it from both sides. We want to hear it. Let's hear it from both sides.
Yes, there's a pro and a con.
So you know what?
We aren't discussing is how to handle it.
Well,
what is a good way to deal and to teach our children how to handle a cell phone responsibly?
All right. So we're gonna have. Hear me out. We're gonna have
an idea.
We're gonna have a panel to synthesize the whole thing and decide how we can move forward in terms of what you're proposing.
Exactly.
But I want to bring the teachers versus the students. That I think is going to be interesting.
On choices.
Let me see if I can set this up for my choices program on Friday evenings.
Right.
So we can bring some teachers in and bring some. I'd like to see the students whip the teachers into submission. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
That would be a great debate, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well,
we need solutions being put out there. And it can't be locking them away.
All right.
That's I don't know how we could possibly think that's a solution. That's like as you said with the car.
Yeah.
Fan in the car. How is that going to work?
No, we
how
can't.
Is that going to make our society better?
No.
And coming up with things like pollution, how to filter the stuff, coming up with different things as to how to be able to use it responsibly.
Yeah, and let me
that has not been happening with cell phones whatsoever. I've never heard a discussion as to how to responsibly use a cell phone.
And let me share this here. In terms of what conversations I've had with police officers, where they've told me that the car you drive can become a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
Not just in terms of drunk drivers just doing craziness, but even in terms of people who deliberately. Have you seen those video clips where a man gets into a jealous fit or rage, what you call it, and take his car and run down a woman and just, man, a lot of craziness. Women do it too. Women do it too.
Even unintentional stuff.
The dentist
in Texas a lot. People run over their children by mistake.
But by mistake.
There was something in the news, news about that.
That's by mistake. We had a case here on the island where a grandmother reversed her vehicle, not knowing that the child that she was, taking care of on that day was behind the vehicle, and the child got killed. I think that's why they invented this this camera. So when you're reversing now in the new cars, you can actually see what's behind you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, like the one case that was there, that this woman, she was leaving with one of her children. The other child, the 1-year-old, was staying with the father. They were in the garage. She said the last thing she saw the child was with the father. She backed out, and the child got away and she ran over the child.
Wow.
But I'm like, why would you have a 1-year-old in the garage when the car is moving? I had a garage with 1-year-old. I never moved the car with them not being in the car.
We're not all the same. Some of us do have lapses in judgment.
That need to be had. What is the safety protocol? And do you know that most fatal car accidents happen either speeds under 20 miles an hour and over 70?
That's interesting. On the 20. On the 20. Lord have mercy.
Problem too.
All right.
And it makes sense because I know with any accident I've had, and I've been driving for a long time, has been on the 10 miles an hour. When I'm driving slow, I'm thinking I'm driving slow, and I start daydreaming about what I'm going to do next or where I'm going and stuff like that. And I'm not really studying a lot to focus because I'm thinking to myself, I'm driving slow. When I'm driving fast, I know I need to be alert. So I'm paying attention. I've never, and I've driven hundreds of thousands of miles.
I'm going to start driving slow.
An accident driving fast because I am paying attention and I've avoided many accidents. People looking to run into me, but because I'm alert and I'm looking all over, I see them coming, and then I'm already moving, so I can easily move around them. I've had people hit me when I've been standing still, and of course I can't escape them because I even to get up to a speed to try to escape them is going to take some time. But anyway, as I said, they did a study and they found most deadly accidents happen on the 20 miles an hour and over 70.
Wow.
In between that, you have less fatal car accidents.
All right. Let's try and bring somebody else in. We got some persons trying to come in. Thanks for calling and sharing this morning. Be blessed. All right.
Now, before you go, I want to make some comments. First of all, like I said, we don't know the future.
Give me a second, caller. Just hold on. Give me a second.
We don't know the future. You learn from your mistakes. And that's a good example they use with that reverse technology. Because you could see what's in the back of you. So as things happen, you need new inventions to correct the past. But it's human to make mistakes. It's nobody's fault if the child, nobody knows the child is in the back of the car.
Sometimes it's a lapse in judgment.
True, but still, it is a human mistake that nobody would want to happen. So you learn from the mistakes and you got the inventions. You correct. As we try to make life more convenient, sometimes you don't foresee certain consequences. And as I'm saying, something like water, we see it's a harmless substance, but anything can be abused, misused, and there's such a thing as water toxicity. Some people don't know that. Too much of anything is bad for you. Too much water can kill you.
The pen was invented, and the pen can be weaponized.
Anything could be a weapon.
Not just in terms of what you write.
How was your weekend? Good weekend?
I'm a caller. Let's say now, because I have a pen in my hand, and we can weaponize it for character assassination, for all kinds of things, and then I can take it. You can actually take a pen and injure somebody by stabbing the person with the
tongue. The tongue is a sharp weapon.
Yes, caller. Let's say you.
Yeah, John. I called back to go on the phone usage in school, but before I go there, let me touch on the situation with water and how too much of anything can kill you. I know of someone that went on a bus trip from an assisted living home, and they came back, and right outside the assisted living home, when he got off the bus, he obstructed. He got like vomit, or attempted to vomit. Then he dropped dead. They claim that he choked on his own vomit, so he drowned in his own vomit. I mean, it's so much where this body is a very strong piece of machinery that God made. But sometimes the simplest of things could take it out. I know some of my buddies that served in Vietnam never got shot, never got anything. And they come home and maybe a simple thing as a bee sting take them out. It is so sad. anyway, today, and I heard Mr. Henry, the physicist, talk about something that he saw. I would like to talk about an experience that I had in public school, mostly which is heavily populated with black students. I don't want to sound prejudiced, but that's what I'm interested in. We need to get our black students on first base before we put anyone else there. Now, what happened with the use of cell phones? And we did a thing both in West Palm Beach, Houston, where the 2 areas that I live. And we find that the black male, the black young men, were the one that the cell phone usage was doing more harm to. They were so engrossed and in a phone that you standing right there and tell them the school is fun enough, let's go. They don't hear that. The brains and everything in them is in the phone. Anyway, we decided we're going to put a stop to that. You're going to have a drop box. You put a tag on your phone with your name and you drop it in a box and you can't use it in school anymore. Yes, at first the children were a little hesitant, but they came around to it. And I'll tell you, the marked improvement was in the attention span of the said black male. The attention span turned around and became interested more in the subject matter and were passing the grade. But what happened, John? The parents involved themselves in it, saying that they need their child to have a phone. You got emergency, you got to call them, they need to be able to get in touch with the child, blah, 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 blah. And they raised the ticket. And the children stood up and said, no, mommy, I'm glad they're taking it because it's helping me now with my school. But the fact that the parents, the children are giving to the parents, but they give in and then the school give it back. They relax the policy and give them back the phone. But I mean, now what sense did that make? I mean, can the parents see, understand, or hear, or levitate?
I don't. Let me just say that there is a Virgin Islander who teaches in the state of Georgia. I don't know what particular county, and she participates in our program on Friday evenings, Choices, and she gave us her personal experience at her school with the cell phones being tucked away during class time, etc. And she expressed to us how it has worked to the benefit of the children. So I'm saying that, but what the gentleman, the caller who called in this morning, what he was saying is that there was a study done, research, which involved some 4,000 plus students, and it showed the results in terms of the benefits of having them, the essentially free use of cell phones in the schools as opposed to having them locked down or taken away during class time, etc. And so I would have to look at that study to see what is being said, and what are the particulars before I take a position. But personally, from what I have read, from what I have known, I think the practice of taking away the cell phones or having them put away, inaccessible during regular class time has worked out well in many jurisdictions. Well, for everybody concerned. And let me just say this here. Students who were in schools where you have fights, regular fights, etc. Do you know that the students can actually use their cell phones to coordinate such things, where the opponent is located, where we should move, how to circle him and to get him.
Oh yeah. It happened.
So we gotta weigh the pros and cons and decide what's the best route to follow in terms of regulating. The regulation is important. We have to have regulated items. We have to have regulated activities, if I may. It's the reality of the world we live in because things are being developed, invented at a rapid clip, and we got to have some measure of control in terms of usage.
Oh, you want to get in? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You want to get in. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Ajahn.
Yeah, I was saying that we need to have some measure of regulation in terms of usage and application of the various things that we have bombarding us today.
Of course, what would this world be without regulation?
Come on.
Everybody doing what they want, how they want, when they want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's we got to be careful in what we asking for, looking for, or allowing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Absolutely.
And right. So there was something else I was going to say, but it slipped me right now. Oh, I need to tell you this. I keep missing your Friday night shows.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it is with me on Friday nights. I believe it's the amount of things I does on a Friday. I goes to bed early on Friday night.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
And sometimes I jump up, it's after 11 and say, oh my God, I missed the show again.
Listen
the show is what time again? What time is the show?
From 7 to 8:30.
Oh, it's very early then. No, that time I'm dead asleep.
No, whatever. Oh, you're sleeping? Whatever is, I was going to say, whatever is attracting you in the bed, keep it out of the bed.
No, but it's to rest. I rest early on Friday night.
Okay, I understand
but
that.
I'll tell you, it's safe, so I could always go back to it, right?
Yes, it is. You can go back to what's the WSTX Facebook Live, and you can get it there.
Yes. I will go back to it. Yes. Yeah. Okay, you go ahead and try get some other callers.
All right. Thanks for calling again. Stay strong.
Bye.
Yes. Let's see. Do we have somebody there now? All right. Yeah, good. We have a number of things that have been happening. By the way, did you? I think you did mention that to me that you chanced by the activity of the delegate. She had an.
I took a peek to see what was going on, and it's apparent I have trolls because somebody made a comment. I didn't go to hide. I wasn't in secrecy. I was under a bush. It's a public property. But I did plan to go to an event that night. I just wanted to see what was taking place. And yes, we had one gubernatorial candidate up there. That's what you're supposed to do in campaign season. Try to bring out the crowd so you could carry your message.
I drove through the area on my way into town to, hey, Saturday nights I have my places where I go to have some fun, some downtime. And so as I drove through, I saw quite a crowd. There was a good crowd, and there was a band playing. It was not Stanley. There was another band playing.
The one from St. Thomas?
I guess so. Like I said, I drove, I heard the music, and quite a number of people. That must have been around 10 o'clock, a little after 10, and I said, wow, it seems like the delegate has a crowd. Here is my take. When you look at Facebook and other media outlets as well, it seems like the delegate, she's up front with a pretty aggressive campaign compared to other candidates.
I agree.
And so that does give an edge of sorts, but of course it's very early in the game.
It is, and not everybody have a war chest with endless treasury.
Yeah.
Some people have to be very frugal in the campaign because that's a big factor.
Now, yesterday there was a special event for mothers at the Blue Bamboo, which used to be the drive-in.
Oh, okay. I passed by,
and they also had a cricket game out there.
I did check it out. Yeah. I did later on in the evening time. I did pass.
Oh, you went there in the evening time?
In the evening. Okay. Yes.
And what was the crowd like?
Massive. I mean, and I when I got there, that was around 9-ish. And then by the time I was leaving, the place was almost full to capacity.
Wow, wow.
So people like to come out late.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I like to come out early and leave early.
Mm-hmm.
I like to get back
Mm-hmm.
in my to my castle. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Well,
yes, I think it was a great turnout.
interesting. I was out there for the luncheon, which is apparently this guy hosts a luncheon every Mother's Day and Father's Day. Mother's Day for the mothers primarily, and then Father's Day
Mm-hmm.
for the fathers. So I went there at about must have been around 3 o'clock, approaching 4 o'clock when I went there. Um, by the way, I saw former Senator Javon James out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw Donald Gregory's running mate.
Mm-hmm.
He was there with his wife. Apparently, so because he and I we had a brief conversation, um, and I said, "But where is Donna?" And he told me, of course, Donna is in St. Thomas. She's got a hold of the St. Thomas end, and so he was doing his little round. Very quiet, unassuming guy. Very personable as I find him, you know. Of course, he's the principal at the complex. I don't even know which side, whether it is the academic side or
Mm-hmm.
vocational side, but he's a principal out there. And nice guy. I had a brief conversation with him. Very nice. Very.
So I guess, do you know the official date when candidates working for the government has to take leave?
I suppose once you become a
Certified.
candidate officially,
All right.
when you've been certified by the board, then you ought to take leave, but not before that.
Because I know there was an attempt bill sponsored by Maurice James.
Uh-huh.
You could enlighten me on it, because apparently the 36th legislature rejected
Right.
this proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Could you elaborate what exactly the bill attempted to do?
Well, here is the reality of the situation. On the federal level,
Uh-huh.
there are several categories of employees who are restricted from running for elected offices.
Uh-huh.
If you're going to run, you either have to resign or take leave of absence.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a carryover into our territorial, statutes, where certain persons, and of course those laws have been promulgated fairly recently by our local legislators,
Mm-hmm.
and they also have the power to change that, so that even when I run for office in the past as a school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
I had to take leave of absence, from the day I became a certified candidate,
Right.
until after the election. So when I got elected back in '98, of course I just simply stayed out, and eventually I had to write a letter asking for an extension
Mm-hmm.
of my leave, since I was serving in the legislature. I must have done that for the first term and perhaps the second term, and afterwards I never bothered to do it again. I just left it alone. So I am not in favor of that. But I also understand the argument against it, in that people feel that if you're a school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
you're teaching in the classroom and you're running for Senate, you're having this direct influence on the children.
So tell me it's precisely what you're not in favor of, because I'm ambivalent about the proposal,
Mm-hmm.
but I lean towards the having it like the Hatch Act. If
Mm-hmm.
you're going to campaign and seek public office,
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not while you're in the government time. That's my position.
I don't think any candidate who is a school teacher running for office would utilize time in the classroom to advance his or her candidacy. That doesn't happen. That's unethical,
Mm-hmm.
and it's contrary to established protocols within the Department of Education. However, you cannot escape the occasional student who will come to you and say, "Mr. John Baptiste, I hear you're running for office, and maybe even give you an endorsement of sorts, and want to ask them away what you're hoping to accomplish as a senator." You're going to run into those situations.
It's fuzzy.
Right.
It's too much.
But then what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If it is such that the school teacher has to take leave of absence, then shouldn't senators have to put their more regular activities on hold and engage in campaigning on a full-time basis? There are countries where once you're going to go into elections, the parliament is dissolved. So you're no longer an active government official. You're now campaigning for re-election. After the election, they're again sworn in, and then they reassume their tasks and duties in elected office. So I'm saying that we got to be fair. If you can't allow senators who are running for office to be able to make all kinds of appearances, to go even into the schools.
Because that's part of campaigning.
All right. And they're doing all of that, and yet they're still in office working.
Well, that's good. The same way I feel about the legal double dipping.
Well,
so I understand both sides of the argument.
Having been through it, and it poses a hardship situation on the individual. Teachers don't have all of this kind of a disposable income to put into a campaign.
Yeah, but I think too, you got to look at it, the private sector now. A person who is employed for a private
doesn't have to resign unless the company requires that.
And sometimes the company requires it. It depends.
Yeah.
But I think you can't go by how you feel. Some people
one quick second, caller. Just hold on one quick second.
Some people are unethical. The ethical thing, sometimes you can't control, but the legal aspect of it, you can control through legislation. My thought is, anybody, whether you are incumbent or not, run a campaign that's ethical. Period.
Well, here, control is good, but too much control is not good.
It's always you always have to strike a balance, and there will always be pros and cons. We're never going to agree 100%, all of us, on the same issue.
You got candidates going to church to influence the congregants to vote for them. There are no restrictions there. The pastors themselves sometimes invite candidates to come in and even give them some time to speak.
And then you have supporters calling radio station, trying to campaign for the candidate in a sneaky way. So I think if the candidate allows those kind of unethical conduct, it says about your character.
Well, a school teacher ought to be ethical in his or her approaches. And let me just say this here: I am against forcing or imposing upon teachers and educational employees to take a leave of absence to run for office. We're denying a lot of good people.
So that you were in support of the measure then?
I'm not, yes, to allow them to hold on to the position and run for office.
To some extent, but I thought they needed some compromises.
Guidelines. All you need is guidelines in place.
Not exactly like how it's presented. I think it needed to be tweaked. Well, that's my thought on it.
In other words, allow a school teacher to run for office, but let the school teacher understand the parameters in which he or she will operate at the school campus. Whilst you're in school, know what you're going to be saying, what you're going to be doing. You can come in there with a whole bunch of stickers and put it on your blackboard and this kind of thing. No.
You could campaign after on the weekends or after school. I mean, it's a different era. That's what I said. In the digital era, it's a different type of campaigning.
What are the incumbents afraid of?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. If you're that strong as an incumbent, allow the people to run. Don't try to restrict them.
I can't speak on their behalf.
Anyway.
I could speculate.
Yes. Caller, hello, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. I have a question first. The incumbents you're talking about, are you satisfied with their performance?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And we're looking to bring in new ones. If the old ones you're not satisfied with their performance, let's say they did 2 years. I'm not playing with that, 2 years. The new ones are coming in. What would you be looking for them to do?
Well, first of all, personally, I would look at character. What kind of character you're going to bring to the position? That's one. The second thing I would be looking at is your willingness to listen to people, to hear what they have to say, before you just simply decide that this is what you're going to do. And then you're going to share with people your ideas in concrete terms, in terms of your evaluation of the challenges, the issues, the problems, and what you think may be a proposal that can bring about resolution to the situation.
And most of the time, the things that are bothering us right now, who are there, it bothers them too. They have to go to the same hospital. They got to pay the same water bill and things like that. They haven't brought about no change. They didn't come up with no solution to fix anything. Are you saying you're looking for them to fix it?
But they did not even.
If they get back in?
But head is here. If you look at the record, they did not even present solutions before they were elected. Most of those persons are elected on the basis of popularity and other, unimportant criteria.
So do you think any solution is going to come from them?
No.
All right, the new ones that go in. If they can't tell you, we don't need to know what the problems anymore, because all of us know the problem.
True.
The thing we have to deal with is a solution.
Exactly.
If the solution you're given, you say, we have a problem with reading in the schools, or we're going to give them new books. The man can't read. How is he going to read the new books that you give him? You know what I'm saying? It's like they spout off these things like it's a solution, but it's not a solution.
True.
Because if you have a book and you can't read the book, giving me 10 more books, does that help me to read? So the question is this here. Are we fools that we allow the same people to do the same thing? My question, let me ask another question. What Donald Trump is doing right now, does it frighten you? Does it amaze you? You didn't think he was going to do that?
I'm a person, I read scripture. I try to analyze and synthesize things on the basis of what I've learned from the scriptures and the times that we're living in. So from that standpoint, that's how I evaluate the president's performance.
I like that. Here one scripture say, out of the abundance of a man's heart, his mouth will speak. He said, whatever is in the well, when you put down the bucket, is only what is in the well you're going to bring up,
True.
And the whole thing about it, based on your action, is going to tell you what you're going to do. So the whole thing, even man, you know how we like to talk about Bible. Bible talk about spiritualness, salvation, and things like that. It says if you confess with your mouth, but if you don't confess with your mouth and genuinely mean it, it don't mean nothing, So you can tell me all kind of things, but if you don't mean it, am I going to get any change?
No.
And if all I am doing is looking out for myself and others, if you're not in the self-interest and the others, you're in a bad place, And for all these years, we have been talking about politics and voting, and if you don't vote, you don't have no say. We vote and we quarreling. The man who didn't vote don't have no quarrel because we didn't put them in there. But we voted to put them there. And today, we are quarreling. And as you say, the problems that are bothering us, they haven't lifted their finger one way to do anything. So the man is basically what you see is what you're going to get.
Let me ask you a question. Do you plant a coconut tree today and expect to reap coconuts next week?
No, I'm not going to give the coconut next week.
Okay, so in other words, a lot of the problems we're seeing today, they were planted several years ago. And so to deal with them, we have to look at the what, the when, the how, the why we have these problems in order to come up with the solutions. And I don't think that, people are looking at that. That's why today, even I just saw on Facebook where the town of Frederick said a couple of days ago, some 200 shots. 200 shots approximately were fired at about 4 a.m. right there in the town of Frederickstead. I mean, this whole gun violence problem we have doesn't just deal with a mindset gone crazy, but it also deals with the availability of weapons, ammunition, guns. And if we were serious about dealing with that situation, those of us who are in charge, we would have had a comprehensive evaluation of the situation to determine the when, the why, the hows, etc. of the problem, and to develop solutions to it. This is not being done.
Question I have for you.
Uh-huh.
You come in and you're talking about living right, doing the right thing.
Uh-huh.
The easiest way for me to shut you up is to tarnish you.
True.
As long as
that's now shut you up by tarnishing you. That's if you have not prepared yourself to have the right answer to the questions being thrown out.
When I say tarnish you, find where your price is.
Uh-huh.
Even if your price is $1 million.
Uh-huh.
You know, after you take that $1 million, you can't say nothing anymore.
True.
So the whole thing, I might say, okay, I'm standing up. Imagine this man, I'm going to give you $1 million. But when they come the second time, there is no million to get because you're already contaminated.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say nothing. The only person can stand is the one who have not been contaminated.
Mm-hmm.
Would you wash your clothes in contaminated water?
No. As a matter of fact, neither would you if you have a cup and you know that there is arsenic is a poison. And people often talk about parts per million, whatever it is that they say. If you know there is an itsy bitsy amount of poison in that cup, will you drink it?
No.
Okay. So
but the whole question I have for you, what is the solution? Sometimes the solution is sterilizing the cup. Sometimes the solution is getting rid of the cup. But you know, sometimes if you throw the cup in the garbage, and another person see the cup in the garbage and say, oh, this is a nice cup, and they take it and carry it home. You know, you have endangered their lives. You know? Some cups are not to be thrown in the garbage. They're supposed to be just broken.
True.
Because what? Anybody who's taking up afterwards is in danger. And they know are in danger innocently because they see a cup that somebody threw away and thought it was okay. It's not okay.
And that's the reason why you have to know the full parameters of what you're dealing with. If the cup is the problem, you deal with a cup. But if it is what's in the cup that's the problem, then you have to deal with what's in the cup.
Well, what is in the cup didn't get in the cup by itself.
True, and that's why
the whole thing about it, we may say deal with what is in the cup, but the question is who put it in the cup? Because the person who put it in the cup is who you have to deal with. Yes, poison might be in my cup, and I don't know how it got in there.
Yeah.
But we need to find the one who put it in the cup.
Yeah, I hear that.
And if you notice that we are going in circles, oh, you know, you got to make good choices. But if you know I am a scam, and you don't put out and the facts are show where I am being scampish, isn't the chances there that I can get in because my mouth is loud and my behavior is some kind of thing that people will gravitate to? But because you don't know the facts, you will still vote for me?
True.
So we say, oh, I don't want to tarnish nobody. Then just shut your mouth and stay out there, because the whole thing about it, the same person is going to get in again. Because if I don't know, and I'm going to say, oh, we need to vote. The one who have the prettiest thing and the loudest thing and the prettiest dancer, that's the one I might gravitate to.
True.
But who want to go to a boring party? So
well, let me say this.
Seems to be giving you the music to dance up to. That's the one you might go to, but that's the one where the danger is.
Could I say something here?
Yes, sweetheart. I don't mind you saying something.
Okay. We have what is known as representative democracy. We have a choice when we go to the poll. We could pick which candidates we wish to pick. Now, right now, they're in campaign season. So whoever, politicians have the gift of gab, they're going to try to persuade you and try to win as much support as possible. That's fair. It's a race. You have to compete and you have to present your message. And I don't agree that the 36th legislature hasn't accomplished anything. Maybe they haven't resolved all the problems, and they're going to still be problems in every government. Is problems.
Tell me what did they accomplish?
I am not here to.
You said a while ago.
I said that. That's true, but you also said about reading.
I'm just trying to tell you. Tell me something they accomplished. That's all.
Okay, all right, and I'm saying to you about reading. Go to the legislative side.
Let's leave it alone. Mr. Baptiste,
yeah. All right.
Okay, about reading. Read for yourself.
All right, let me just say
and see what has been accomplished. Now, some of the things I wish they had accomplished, like recent committee hearing and what you call what is called now? Government Veterans Affairs and Consumer Protection Committee, something like that. Is that the full name for it? Anyway, they were presented with arguments about having a standalone ballot box and manual counting. What did they do? Again, they tabled the matter. That's kicking the issue down the road.
So is that an accomplishment?
It's not an accomplishment. I'm just trying to show you, though, to be fair. They have accomplished certain things, and certain things they are just kicking down the road.
So the caller asked the question, can you itemize 1 or 2 or 3 accomplishments?
No, I don't wish to, because I am not here to endorse the incumbents. I'm just saying, everybody for themselves. You could go and read and see what they accomplished. That's their job. Then they go campaign and tell you what their records are. But to say, I detect a sense of demeaning the voters for the choice. Majority rules. If they choose to elect some of the same incumbent, that's the choice of the voter, and I think we need to respect it. That's what I'm talking about.
But do we have a process in place whereby we can adequately inform people in terms of quality of the individuals presenting themselves for office, in terms of the accomplishments of those who are actually incumbent senators? And I think when the caller called in, the discussion first went to the incumbents.
Right.
So when we look at the incumbents, can we say with a certain degree of authenticity, for lack of a better expression, that those persons have delivered to the expectation of those who voted in?
No, I would say no.
Okay.
That's why you have a lot of complaints, and there's nothing wrong with complaining. There are a lot of dissatisfaction about the performance of the incumbents, including the governor. Not just the senator.
Hello, caller. Just give us 1 quick second.
And I'm saying, at this point, we're in campaign season. It's up to them, not for me. I'm not campaigning for no incumbent senator. Let them tell you their record, and their job is to persuade you to go out and vote. But what I don't see happening a lot is the education, like what you're doing. Education us about the process, not just trying to convince us you're the best candidate. But the bottom line, people are going to go to the poll and they're going to vote for whomever they want, and the intelligence should not be insulted because you feel the incumbents are not the best ones, and the people possibly will re-elect them. That's your feelings.
Right. And we should not
respect everybody's choice.
We should not question the intelligence of the people.
Exactly, that's all I'm saying.
But we have a right to question the process.
Exactly.
And because, let's say, for example, you have forums. People, the candidates are invited to participate. There is no set criteria in terms of how they will be evaluated. I think those who actually conduct the forums should have a set of criteria, so that whether it is that you have a panel to make a determination at the end, and for those in the audience can share their take, there must be criteria in terms of articulation, presentation, content, and all of that. And even those who are viewing or listening can also call in and take their determinations based upon the criteria that is being used to determine.
Let's say it's a different era. In the digital era, you could have virtual town hall meeting, virtual debates.
There must be a process of evaluation.
There must be a process.
At the conclusion. That's what I'm saying. So far, we don't have that.
I'm just promoting free speech and respect for choice.
Yes.
Because your program on Friday is about choice.
It's all about
respect for choice.
Yes. All right. Hello, caller. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. You brought up a point that people have brought up before, that a government worker has a supervisor who has to account for their time at work and their productivity at work. So, but then when they get, so if they're skipping out, there's somebody there that is supposed to say they're not using their time appropriately. That is the job of the supervisor to report it.
Right.
Right. So when you have somebody there, so if they're in private business, you don't have anybody that's necessarily there, but even in there, the person doesn't want them not doing their work. So you have somebody. But then if they get elected, who's their supervisor? Who's accounting for their time? Nobody. They're their own supervisor. So the requirement is ridiculous. It's absurd because we elected them to do a job where they won't have anybody accounted for their time. They can do whatever they feel like doing. The only people is basically voters, but are they? Do they know how they use their time during the day? No. So you have, of all workers, government workers are the people that you can know what they're doing with their time the most. And those are the ones you said, no, it's not possible that they have to stop working. They'll run for a job where they won't have a supervisor. The legislature supervises themselves, they regulate themselves, and really one senator can't tell the other senator how to spend their time.
But
the whole thing's absurd.
Yeah, let me just allow my co-host to go first before I say what I.
Okay, I think the voters are the watchdogs, and the elected officials are accounted to the voters, and we have a chance to scrutinize their records, see what they have accomplished, and at the end of the day, you make the choice whether you want to go participate in the election process or not, and majority rules. That's it. So they're accountable to us who put them in there. And if you decide you don't want to see an incumbent back in office because you're disappointed, just go to the polls, don't elect them. But again, majority rules.
Yes, and that should be the case from the beginning, from when they're running. So if they are not doing their work, the public, again, can find out that they're instead of doing their work, they're taking their time to campaign. And then they can factor that into, I want this person to be my representative or not. So I think they should just leave it alone. Let the people decide, which is what it's supposed to be. When it comes to re-election, it's going to be the exact same thing. So this thing is totally contrary. And if the person is prone to be doing other work when they're supposed to be doing the government work, I would like to know about that. I don't want you to stop them from doing it only to find out that's the kind of person they are when they get elected. Let them do it when they're campaigning. And then I can find out what kind of person they are and decide, do I want this person to represent me or not?
So then let me ask
you. You stopping them from doing it stops me from finding out what kind of person they are.
So let me ask you a question here. In every branch of government, there are evaluative procedures or performance evaluation methods. But when it comes to the legislature, what are the performance evaluations that we have in place for them. What are their responsibilities? What are their responsibilities? And to what extent we can determine if they're, cutting the mustard in terms of being responsible, being committed, being diligent in their work. I don't know how, when you look at senators and how they operate sometimes, you can check their diligence to the job. You can look at committee hearings to see who's attending, what input they have. You can look at the committee of the whole when they come together for sessions, and you can make determinations in terms of who's present again and who's making meaningful contributions. You can look at the problems, the major problems we're faced with here in the territory, and you can look at the bills being submitted. They may not become law, but you can look at a bill being submitted by a senator, and you can make a determination in terms of whether that bill really seeks to address the problem and to put in place a mechanism to deal with it, and to put it in place, if necessary, the funding source to make it happen. So there are things that can be done that's already in place.
And do we care if they were on the beach when they figured these things out?
Well,
or do we care about what they actually proposed and what they supported and what they got passed?
We should be concerned. We should be concerned.
Are we concerned about whether or not they showed up at 8 o'clock in the morning to their office or not?
And we should be concerned about the end result. Yes, the end result.
They may
performance.
do their best work on the beach.
Performance is what we're looking at. And so,
exactly.
Yes,
And so I did the same thing. Because as a government worker, I want to know, and I don't even have to say, they have co-workers, they have people around them, people they're interacting with. If they aren't doing their job, then we will be able to find out. We can talk to the people that they work with.
True, and that's why
so I don't think this thing is totally unnecessary. It's only basically there to limit their competition.
Okay.
Because there's no sound, reasonable reason to have that in effect. And in fact, as I said, it prevents the voters from finding out who they really are. Because you're not allowing them to be who they really are. You're stopping them. If they're a person who was prone to do this, we will never know about it until when they get on the job.
Right.
Because you stopped it from the public from being able to find out.
I hear that.
The kind of person they are.
I hear that. You see, with the caller who called in with the question about whether those persons have delivered to public expectation. I understand where the caller is coming from. When you hear the horror stories about our healthcare situation, and not just healthcare, because we have some good health providers here on island. But when you take the one public hospital, two of them, Schneider Hospital in St. Thomas and Wang F. Louis here on St. Croix, there are so many questions about the quality and level of service, the lack of equipment, the fact that we can't even retain our doctors and nurses. The very graduates from UVI choose not even to remain here in the territory but go elsewhere. And the question is, how effectively and efficiently have our senators dealt with that? When you look at education and the disaster stories you're hearing about education, the question is whether our senators have effectively and efficiently addressed that. So callers have a right when they begin to look at these things. I mean, you take WAPA, for example. WAPA is still a horror situation. And I'm not suggesting that it can be remedied overnight, but at least if they give us something so we could look at it and say, okay, we have some performance measures in place. We have evaluative criteria. We can look at them to see if indeed timelines are being met in terms of taking action. So I'm saying that the public, those persons who are irate and angry over the situation, they have a right. They have a right, and senators need to, I am saying, make some adjustments. If our senators are performing well, I can guarantee you wouldn't see the number of persons you have running to see if they can make some kind of change. it is because of basic dissatisfaction with what we have, you know, at the current time.
And regardless of what are other roles of that, what are they going to be doing for us?
Mm-hmm.
And basically they're going to be making, you know, we don't live in a democracy like back in Greece where every male citizen for whatever they're deciding on, gotta vote on that. You know, whether they're going to have a new bath or toilet in, you know, the pavilion or whatever. Every male got a concrete citizen voted on it.
Mm-hmm.
We've moved to a representative democracy where we elect people to make those decisions for us. So we're not going to be there. We're not going to have a say when they're counting votes. And so we need to know what kind of choices that person makes in life and whether or not they're things that we would have agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
But then people are saying, oh no, we should have known about their private business or their private life or they brought you in a forced life. We should have known. And I'm like, you're elected them to make choices for you where you're not going to be able to do anything about their choices. So I want to know about every choice they made in life. Whether when they get divorced, why they get divorced, every choice I want to know what toilet paper they choose to use to buy. Because they're going to be in a position to live in the toilet paper that I can buy. So I want to know everything. Everything is valid.
Mm-hmm.
Because you elected them to make a choice. That's like going to a mechanic, like, I don't want to know anything about your past car fixing.
Mm-hmm.
That's your business.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm coming to you for that. I want to know everything, and then I can make things may not make a difference to me. But I want to at least be able to say, yeah, okay, I don't think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else might think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
So I might not think that what toilet paper they buy is important.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, so when they bring that information, I may not pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody else thinks it is. Somebody else might see something that I'm not thinking about, something that I'm thinking in terms of the possibility of them banning certain toilet paper. And so they want to know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a valid thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't want to run for public office, then it is public office. I mean, that's what it's in the name.
Mm-hmm.
It's not private office, it's public.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it.
It's public
Don't
office.
they have a private life?
I need to know about what kind of decisions you made because that's what I'm elected you to do. To make decisions for me. When at a time where I cannot, you know, nobody's gonna come and ask me whether they should ban a toilet paper.
Which means what this means is that in essence, senators are employees of the public. They have to answer to the public, but the public also has a responsibility to make sure that their employees are doing what they were hired to do.
Okay.
And so that people need to stay informed. They need to access the necessary data information to see if the senators are doing what they should be doing. Here is a case in point. Recently, a bill was introduced to introduce age-appropriate protocols from kindergarten to 12th grade to how to build resilience to mental health issues. And of course, the Department of Education and certain other stakeholders supported that, but many senators began questioning funding sources and if it was necessary. And here is how, you know, when I saw it, I took a quick look I did a little bit of research, and there are several sources of funding to deal with that. One, so that we wouldn't have to rely on just local funds to get it done. The second thing is that through policy that has been established in a number of jurisdictions where you have how you call it, SEL programs in the schools, you know, which deals with the emotional intelligence and all this kind of thing, you know, and teaching youngsters how to identify, you know, behaviors, things around that can impact them negatively and bring about mental health challenges. All of these things are already in place in a number of jurisdictions and well funded. And so all the senators had to do was to do the necessary research and get together with individuals in education, the education department, and see how the policy can be formulated. And through legislation, they put that, they put it as a law with the funding sources or the means of accessing the funding to get it done. All the big argument and hula baloo they're making over this matter, in my opinion, is not even called for. But that's where we are, and let's hopefully we'll get our act together. Are you there, caller? We might have missed that caller.
Well, I think certain aspect of the public official life is off limited.
Yeah,
it's a private matter what type of tissue you're using. I mean, why you need to know that?
First of all, well, it's a given nowadays. It's a given that once you're serving in public office, it doesn't have to be here in the territory.
It's transparency.
All over the world today, if you're serving in public office, all eyes are on you.
That's true.
And you've got to be a little circumspect in terms of what you do, what you say.
Very careful.
Exactly.
You have to, because you're a role model.
Yes, it comes with the territory.
And you're influential.
You speak about role model. Let me tell you something.
It should be one. Let me put it that way.
There are persons who would never make it to the first step in terms of being president, governor, or senator in America 40 years ago. But they're making the first step today. They're going beyond the first step. Things have just changed. The mindset has changed significantly.
That's true.
And
because you could be a negative influence. You have some public officials are using profanities.
And sometimes it's what they call a mic drop. Somebody can get a little ticked off.
Like the president of the United States, calling people derogatory names. That's not a good example.
When you say derogatory names, like maybe I missed something.
I talk about President Trump.
He calls
derogatory names. Yeah.
I know sometimes.
Grabbing, etc.
I've heard him say to people, "You're a bad person. You're a very bad person." And
he have said worse than that, but I'm not going to say it here.
Oh, wow.
But next thing you were saying about the performance of the senator, and that's the point I was trying to go across. We are the ones that have to pay attention. Knowledge is power. We have to keep a close eye, scrutinize their performance before we could make a decision.
Yeah.
An example.
One quick second caller.
I agree. Things like what you mentioned. How frequent are they absent from committee hearings, or they are late with no valid excuse? And the same thing for members of the Board of Elections. I watch them closely. You have a member on the Board of Election that's consistently absent for general meetings. And the last committee hearing I was telling you about, one senator was absent. An important issue like that. So pay attention. We the watchdog. We got to pay attention to the performance of the public official. We vet them. They didn't put themselves in office. We put them in office.
All right. Hello, caller. Good morning and welcome.
Yes, you talked about political leaders, blurting out activities and that kind of stuff. Again, that tells you something about them and whether or not you can figure out whether or not you want a leader like that. So, yes, people get upset. You and I get upset if I blurt out something, but you and I are not in top secret meetings that, talk about national security or whatever it is. And so you and I blurting out something, minimal effect. Them blurting out something can cause major issues.
True.
So, yeah, that's going to be a factor for me. If it happens once, I say patient. But if you are showing me that you can't keep your mouth shut, you can't have no control over what you say, I don't want you as a leader because you're going to cause problems. So we're not talking about you and I, average person. We're talking about a political leader who may be in these meetings, not even security, but it could be something with economics. potential future business.
Let me, if I may, let me put something in perspective. On the national level, the president is like a celebrity of sorts. And if you notice with the Met Gala that they had recently, there was a little thing between Rihanna and Rocky. And you notice people quickly hacked on that, and it's like the behavior. People are criticizing Rihanna's response, etc. And some of them were criticizing the husband. But I'm saying that celebrities have to check themselves in terms of what they say, what they do, because all eyes are on them. The President of the United States, the same thing. Here in the Virgin Islands, all eyes should be on our senators. All eyes should be on the governor, And so these individuals have to have a sense of responsibility in terms of what they do, what they say, where they go, etc.
And once you put them in, it's very difficult to get them out.
Well, hey.
And you're going to have to live with it for 4 years.
Wow.
And their behavior, I want somebody who's in control of their behavior, who's not going to be making these snap decisions.
Right.
We're seeing the negative effects when people make snap decisions and don't listen to the experts in the field who has been studying these things for decades. So it's not a snap decision with them.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's in their life. That's all they've been paying attention.
Yeah.
And their opinions and stuff are being discarded for somebody who just found out about it 5 days ago. Or even 5 years ago is a drop in the bucket compared to the experts. And that's the thing. The leader, you don't elect a leader. A good leader isn't the person who comes up with the idea. A good leader is the person who can hear 5 different views of the idea and all the time pick the best one.
So true. So true.
Napoleon, I'm sure, didn't know everything. He wasn't an expert on everything military. He had people around him that were, and he was able to hear different recommendations and be able to spot the best one.
Yeah, let me hold you there because I got to bring in one last caller. So I got to hold you there.
All right, okay.
All right, bye. Okay. Hello, caller. Good morning and welcome.
Yes, John. I just was able to tune back in when I heard about the foul languages that some public officials use to include the President of the United States. Of course, it doesn't stop there. We all will remember about 2 carnivals or so ago. I mean, it was all over Facebook. I believe it made the newspaper as well. Where the Governor Albert Bryan, levied some heavy mother this and mother that on former Senator Janelle Sorrow.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear that one.
Oh, right, yes. I mean, the thing is that he was in, I would call, a bar and a restaurant. And that is the reviewing stand or whatever it is, where the governor is allowed to use public money to buy liquor and food to feed the commissioners and whoever that is stand and other public and other people from the street that they would want them to drink.
You sure about that? Hold on, you sure about that? You sure about that? That they use public funds?
Listen to me. I don't need to pitch down Albert Bryan anymore. I would urge him to come on the radio now and say this is not so. I'm telling you, it was in the newspapers and all.
Okay, I missed it.
She went there to ask for some ice. And he went under her mother clothes.
Wow.
Okay? The lady that he is having in government house as a first lady, but she's not, she had to try to control it. That he was PC drunk. And that's a good example. I suspect what the crucial miseducator like to see.
But we don't. Let's not go there. Let's not go there with that.
No. But how come she didn't talk about the governor that she said the best governor?
I'm not aware of that situation. And I never said anything about the best governor.
You'll never be aware of anything that comes by you.
Okay, well, what you say is a reflection of your character. It's a reflection of your character.
You go to hell.
No. We won't go there.
I know, but I am just saying, if I am not aware, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You said this is the first time you're hearing about that too.
Yes. But I want us to we gotta control these things, We can't be going tit for tat and butter for fat.
I'm not
at each other,
But I'm not going to I'm not going to tolerate disrespect.
Yeah, true.
Okay?
True. Yeah,
that needs to stop.
True. Now, if indeed the governor made those remarks, I never heard of them. And of course, I wouldn't support it.
So how come you ain't get a pitchfork for saying that? But I get a pitchfork for saying I'm not aware.
No, we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. I understand that, sometimes we advance or advocate for certain things with a lot of passion. And, it's just part of the dynamic. But I think we should be as respectful as possible.
That's what I promote.
Yeah.
Action speaks louder than words. Mm-hmm. You could say one thing, but if your behavior is not consistent with what you preach, like they say, practice what you preach.
Yeah.
You will never hear me come on the airwave, disrespect any caller or any talk show host. Okay?
You will notice that I did what I thought best. I just simply cut out the caller. And that's a regular caller to the program. I just cut it out because sometimes the best way to contain conflict, when you have two siblings in a brawl, sometimes you got to just take one and put one in isolation.
Well, it's not going to suppress my speech. I want to thank you. I think you handled the matter excellent. Yeah. I want to commend you for continue to educate, enlighten, and inspire minds. Likewise, I am doing the same thing. Everybody is entitled, like I always say, to an opinion, a feeling, your belief, perspective, views, etc. But not to your own facts. So I was like, facts can be verified. If that's been, I'm surprised I didn't hear about it. So it would have been a VI consortium all over. How come I missed that one?
Let me ask you a question. How come you've never thought of pursuing political office? Because you have the kind of backbone that's necessary to serve in public office.
I have.
So how come you've never given it some thought? You've got all of those ideals for the community, things you would like to see done. You're quite an activist in this community. You've got a backbone. You've got the how to say, a politician needs to have like the feathers of a duck that it just rolls off the back.
Skin.
Yeah, So how come you've not given it some thought to run for public office?
I have.
Oh, you have.
I ran twice for public office.
What did you run for?
I ran in 2010. For the Senate.
Oh, you did? I missed that. Wow.
Yes, and that was under the Young administration then. And also, I ran to be a delegate to the 5th Constitutional Convention. Okay, so I discovered something about myself. That's what I said. We learn from our mistake. I discovered I'm a lousy politician.
Oh, all right.
But I'm an excellent educator. So it was a calling for me to be an educator, which I continue to do, although I have retired from the Department of Education after serving 33 years. All levels, I thought.
So in 2010, you're looking at the waters. The waters are shark infested. You got to know that there is some serious navigating and swimming and jumping and evasive actions that you've got to take when you run in 2010 for the legislature. It's easy,
It's not easy, and
But you can't just jump in and jump out.
You open yourself to scrutiny, but also that's what's important too. You have to have family support. Yeah. If you don't have a strong family support, you out there and you trying to. it's more difficult. So when you have a candidate whose family embraces the campaign and give full support, that's definitely a plus. And so I take my hat off to all of them who are throwing their hats in the ring. Go ahead. We want to be open to a lot of things. People are going to question, like, what electricity you're using. I'm like, come on, your life is going to be like an open book.
Let me share something with you. My wife and I, we're into things, whether it's thick or thin, we stay together. But I do have family who have, they've been sort of lukewarm, not really there with me. And you know what? You notice I always go to the scriptures. The Messiah, at one time when he was in discussion with some people, somebody came to him and said, your brethren are out there looking for you. They've been looking for you, searching for you, and they're waiting for you. And you know what he said? He said, hey, you know who are my brethren? You see those who are here sitting with me in discourse with me? These are my brethren, not them there outside. So sometimes you've got to go beyond the traditional boundaries that have been set in terms of who is who. And you've got to understand that, the people who pour a heart and soul out to you, the people who are on the same level with you, who resonate, your ideals and their ideals resonate, these are the people you embrace. Not those who are supposedly bloodline relatives and they're looking to stab you in the back.
Right.
You need to just simply ignore them and move along and do what you have to. Very often when you even try to set up a business, it's them there, of the household who tell you, for any number of reasons.
The one that you trust the most is the one that will betray you more.
All right. And you even have instances where a sister steals sister's husband. Haven't you heard of these things? Come on.
Many times. Sisters steal your inheritance.
Come on.
I've heard of those things too. But let me say this. I know you are an aspirant. And you're saying after the nomination
once I've been certified,
will you be still appearing? Will you still have your show?
This becomes a paid political program.
Okay.
I'm going to have to pay for this. And more than likely, I'm going to have to reduce the time because I can't pay for 2 hours. So I may have to just simply go for it for 1 hour. Maybe from 10 to 11 or 11 to 12.
Okay, so
the choices program is a different thing. I'm not the only one involved with choices.
That's a good thing. So I, like I said, it's good that you're listening to the voices of the people who really matter. We all live together. And I have opened an invitation to all prospective candidates to appear on my show at the Table Pujan Educator. In fact, I'm expecting Janelle Soro on my show tomorrow. I hope you are going to tune in and listen. She is aspiring to be the next delegate to the House of Representatives. So I'm listening to everybody. I'm giving everybody an equal shot. And that's why I didn't want to endorse or speak on behalf of the senators, the incumbents. Let them do their own campaigning. I could tell you, all I could tell you is you could go to the legislative website and we'll see what bills each one sponsored. And if you're not satisfied, then you don't have to vote for that person, the incumbent. You vote for whomever you wish, who best represent you. I'm not here to endorse anyone as a talk show host. I am remaining neutral.
That's the way to go. That's the way to go. I don't know if Josh is around. We've gone past the time.
Maybe Josh is giving us extra time.
He's giving us extra time. I don't have a problem with it. But,
But you also, I want to mention something that was very disturbing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, we celebrated Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was great, except early morning when I went for a walk and I was walking on Midland, the sidewalks of Midland Road at the Mommy Jew Shanty, and I documented it. There was a woman. There was this woman there and a bunch of garbage all over. Apparently, she's using a shanty as a shelter. I want to put that out into the universe. All the aspirants.
She's using it as a shelter, a home?
A home. And it's a safety and a health hazard there. All the aspirants seeking office